son, he goes, yeah, my name's Tracy, and he was talking to me. Sorry, my guys are a little protective of me, I appreciate you the help and some of the pointers you gave me. That's cool. I'll be the best. And at the end, we went on our way. I was like, I know that voice. I know that voice. Holy shit, that was Ice-T. And my son goes, Dad, get off the crack. And
Hostile broadcast picked up.
Dude, you got a nice little setup there. What do you call that? I got a name for my setup. What do you got?
This is just the man cave. I mean, this is just the I called it the bat cave for the longest while, but I'm not the bat enthusiast. I'm actually a Star Wars crazy nut. I got the Rogue One poster on the wall on the opposite wall there, and I've lived Star Wars since I was 11. Being a 55-year-old content creator, so.
Well, we got Star Wars to cover today. That's for sure.
But talking about Batman, see,
yeah.
A classmate of mine actually builds the 1967 Batmobile. It's called Fiberglass Freaks. His name is Mark Rakeup, and
shout out Mark Rakeup.
There you go. And Fiberglass Freaks. In fact, his vehicle is the only one that's been sanctioned by DC to be made. The other guys are actually making them illegally.
Oh shit! So,
yeah, he did some work for Jeff Dunham and on his Batmobiles.
Jeff Fafa.
Yeah. So Mark had to deal with Jeff, but they had some issues on timeliness. So yeah, Jeff come and got his stuff.
That's a fellow Texas boy.
Is he?
Dallas area.
You gotta love the man that can go into an Arab country with a puppet
dead
that's terrorist.
Yeah. Ahmed.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing that he can do it and they can laugh at it, and wow.
He's mastered the puppeteering for sure.
It is.
He's hilarious. Every time it's like, God damn it, I don't want to watch a damn puppeteer guy, but his jokes with those characters and the voices, it's just all in sync, man. He masters it.
And I don't know who makes his puppets. I don't know if he's the one that ingeniously made them, but
definitely Peanut.
To come up with the idea and then to make them or say, hey, I need this done, or however it's done, a jalapeno on a stick. Who would have thought of that?
Yeah. Cancel culture went for him for a quick second, but it didn't get to him.
Yeah, but politically correct when it comes to satire or comedy,
that's a losing battle. These comics are gonna win every time.
It's like it's like the love of my life. Her son played with a guy on WoW all the time, and he would always, the kid was a genius, but he was always making fun of his own Asian Pacific background. And he was always making fun of it, talking to accent and stuff like that. Now, if you or I did that, we
I'm terrible at it anyway, so I'm not going to attempt. I can't knock out accents. Anyway, y'all, this is Byers, who is a content creator for the Division 2. So guess what we're going to be talking a lot about today? The Division 2. Hey, by the way, my area, although the camera exposes more than I'd like, I call my area the studio.
The studio
makes it sound official when you get to work.
Yeah.
But so what happened earlier this week? What happened over Twitter this week that started this new transition?
Thursday, they announced something that was probably in the making since probably inked in January 1st, but they had to wait till they had some key people in line. There was a big, massive release on Thursday, maybe even Wednesday night, that they got the contract for the new Star Wars game coming out.
Now, which
Well,
Star
I've
Wars is
heard that.
this?
I believe my theory is it's going to be in the area of the High Republic, which is an area that they're really pushing in Disney right now. There's books coming out every day this week and end of the month. Comic books just came out about the High Republic, with the excitement and the enthusiasm with Mandalorian. Of course, now it brings back the whole bounty hunter thing. And of course, we have Grogu. Sorry, spoiler alert for you guys. It's still not on season 2. Baby Yoda for you guys that haven't watched the series yet.
Bought this at Hobby Lobby last weekend. It's going in the background soon.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I got my son. Actually, I was doing this last night, and he thought his tax check came in here. So I didn't realize he was in here because I had my headphones in. All of a sudden, I felt somebody behind me and touched me. Oh, man, I about jumped out of my skin.
Wow.
I knew he was coming, but after a few hours, I just thought, he's going to call him another day. And it turned out not to be his tax check, but I gave the grandkids their gifts, and his wife's son Morgan, I gave him he's big into Yoda, and I gave him a Monopoly Yoda. So I was kind of thinking maybe the kids could play together. So
we streamed Monopoly last night.
They're 12 and 13 years old, so I got grandkids that are actually my grandson Aiden has actually came over, and I've let him under my supervision stream on some Division and some other things, and a little bit of Fortnite. Of course, he plays Roblox and he plays Minecraft, and I've let him stream a little bit. And you would have thought that I gave that kid a
free trip to Disney World.
Oh yeah, he was like, I want to tell everybody I'm a streamer now. And so
that's cool. Yeah, I let my 13-year-old cousin on last weekend be a part of the stream. Man, he was head down. It's like, oh no. As soon as the camera hit, he is like had the brim of his cap hiding him. He wouldn't talk in the mics. Like, you got to do something.
Yeah, see, I consider, there's different, when it comes to the media, people I'm not necessarily a streamer. I don't even know how to set up an account to get paid for being on Twitch or anything yet, which I really need to do this week. This weekend, it's kind of one of my priorities, but I'm more a content creator. So I make the videos and then I edit them, or I add graphics to them, or stuff that enhances the video, but that takes a lot longer. I have just streamed them, and just said, okay, this is that. But that was in the old computer. And then when I bought this newer computer, right there.
Badass power.
Yeah, that's a Cyber Power PC. It could have had more bells and whistles, but I was trying to keep I'm not monetized. For all you that are watching that don't understand how we get paid, most of the people that you find on YouTube are not getting paid. We're free. We're apprentices. Until we get 1,000 subscribers and a 4,000 hours watched, which I do have that, and we passed 500 yesterday.
Nice, so, congrats, man.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to be faster than that. There's some people that, like some of the other shout outs to other people, like DJ SAS started about the same time as me, and he's up to 800 or 900. He's an Australian. Aussie. And they're Sergeant Graybeard. He's got this like retro 80s vibe to his intro. He's up to 5,000 already.
Nice.
In like 8 months. So
jeez, he's doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if he had a background in it, but his stuff's very professional. I would put him on quality way up there, even over people that's been doing it for 5,
Year.
6, 7, 8 years. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
his stuff's
He's got to have
really
some
good.
background.
And like I say, it's got that pixelated
Uh.
early 80s computer vibe on his intros and stuff like that, and it's unique. It's
When
something.
anytime something 80s comes out, it's a fucking hit these days. The Cobra Kai shit. That show everybody loves, the underground, upside down underground, with 11 as that main character, the kids. It's set in the 80s. Damn, hold up. Her name's like
I
Slevin.
don't watch any TV. I spend my time on Division, and the only thing that basically get me out of this place is when Terry goes, I want you out here, and we're going to work on this relationship. I'm like, see ya. Nice knowing you guys.
Right.
I'll have to make a video just in case when that day comes and go, Bear is not on because he is with the love of his life.
Right. So back to Star Wars and Massive. Let's continue back on that.
So there was a lot of theories come out this week. There are people that think
I got theory.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I just learned from a buddy who's in the profession. So he's in this system of gaming. And as he told me, he understands is that Red Storm makes the game and passes it off to Massive once it's live. They handle the live services.
Oh.
Massive's the live servicing studio, while Red Storm was the one that just makes it.
The developer. So whatever a live service studio is, they don't have as much input as just making the game in general. They're just up to keeping it balanced and patching and adding. I don't know too much about it. Obviously, I don't do the research, but I have the theory because with Red Storm, they still have the Manhunt, like that banner for Twitter. Right. And everybody went nuts when they changed the banner to the
Manhunt icon
a few months ago. Yeah, there was a lot of theories. I know, I think Kamikaze Von Doom that has some inroads, talks with a lot of the developers, had some insight on that, and he really has. You ought to check out his videos for his own opinion. I'm just paraphrasing, but please check out Kamikaze Von Doom and check out his view on things. But with that, he believes that year 3 was going to be more PvP based because Red Storm was
a long
really
time to
good.
fucking do that.
But that would be cool. How many people would come back if you had survival and underground, and those wouldn't be hard. And with COVID putting a monkey wrench in everybody's world this year,
that's true.
From the president we won't name and getting in all kinds of controversy to personal lives, we're in separate worlds, and some of that's COVID, because I know the last thing I want to do is make sick the person I love. As you can see over here, my last name, of course, is Byers. A stands for Alan, and that was my godfather. Well, he was a diesel mechanic all his life, and he worked in stone quarries. So he breathed in that limestone dust all his life, without ever smoking. Or maybe he smoked back in the 60s when he was in the Army, but I never knew how to smoke. But he had COPD real bad. So when he caught COVID in October, I was like, Dad, you're going to lose your best friend. I hate to tell you, but, my godfather isn't going to make it out of the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, he made it off the ventilator, and it looked like he was going to do better. And he just couldn't get his oxygen level up. The damage between the COPD, which was already real bad, and then, of course, the COVID did him in. So we lost my godfather. I lost a cousin out there in Oklahoma. She got it. She was a social worker, and she was on a ventilator within 3 or 4 days, and in a coma on day 7. And of course, my aunt, my dad's sister, had to, be the one to go. Yeah, she's brain dead, and I have to pull the life support on my own daughter. So I really felt really bad for my aunt. Shout out to Aunt Bev. But yeah, so COVID's hit home a little bit, but being 55, I've lost 3 or 4 classmates to cancer. Just yesterday, I made a comment on a video about pararescue, if you know what that is. Being a PJ. Okay, so all services have some special forces, and some of them are so specialized nobody knows about them. Like weather jumpers, there's 12 or 15 weather jumpers, and their job is to jump in the middle of a hurricane, get out of the plane, get to the ground, and secure whatever national asset needs secure in the eye of a hurricane.
Right. Yeah, pararescue, isn't that just you just skydive and get into your situation?
They do everything. It's 2 years of training. And anyway, this video that was on there was actually one of the propaganda videos to say, hey, that they show us in basic training. And I made a comment 31 years almost to the day, when I was in basic training in 1983, and over Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving, they played this video for us. And they said, okay, anybody that wants to try out, tryouts are tomorrow. So of course that got us out of the formation and out of the drill instructor's eyes for a few hours. So there was about 10 or 15 of us that were like, yeah, if we get away from the drill instructors for a few hours, that's awesome, right?
I went to church on Sundays just to get the fuck out of the barracks.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Everybody
I went to every service.
That's right. So we marched over, because we were in the 02nd there at Lackland. We marched over to where the pararescue compound was, and we grouped up in groups of 2s. And we got
battle buddies.
We had all these calisthenics to do, and I think I did like 7 pull-ups, and I did like 52 sit-ups, and then push-ups, and in a minute. And of course, if you touch the ground, didn't count. And I was doing flutter kicks where you're on the back and you're doing like this. And
great for the abs. Great.
Now, again, that's me in the military. That was me in Japan. So much skinnier, very good shape, and so yeah, totally different person than the big boy I am now. But back then I was, I ran cross country in high school. I was involved in scouting, so I did mile runs at scout camp or mile swims at scout camp every year. And so being able to basically be a triathlete to try out for this pararescue, I thought, man, I can do this.
Yeah.
Well, you got 80 points on calisthenics, you got 40 points on the mile run, or mile and a half or 2 mile run, and you got 40 points for the swim. And you had to have 100 points to even qualify, to go any further, to get selected. So this was kind of your tryout to even see if you wanted to go to pararescue. Right. So anyway, that's a big story, but there was a video on that. I commented on it and I said, yeah, this is me. And I qualified at the end of it because my calisthenics was so poor. I had like 24 out of 80 points on my calisthenics, but I was the second off the track and I was the third out of the pool. So that gave me just enough points to go to the next phase and say, okay, to watch this big video and say, hey, you want to be one of these guys.
Right.
And of course, the drill instructor has to let us, know who's going where. And he's going, okay, you 6 guys are going over there. So he set us down and talked to us as a human. And he said, why did you guys come into the Air Force? And he's not yelling at us. He's talking to us.
Yeah, when they get personal, they break it down.
And I didn't know the guy that I had as a drill instructor. His name was, at the time, he was Tech Sergeant Michael Conway. And the reason why I remember his full name is later on, 10 years in the career, we were stationed together in DC.
Awesome.
He was the first sergeant when he was a chief master sergeant out at Indian River, Patuxent River at Indian Heads, Maryland, which, if you guys don't know, that's where they blow things up underwater. So that's where the special forces guys go to do some training. So he was in charge of them as a first sergeant. And I actually ran into him, went past all the first sergeants meeting one morning, and I just froze in my tracks. And there's my drill instructor 10 years later. And I did not even realize that I'm a staff sergeant at this point. Parade rest. I'm just like back in basic training.
Teacher at the grocery store.
And one of the other first sergeants knew me. Well, they knew me because I was Sportsman of the Year, in AFDW. So yeah, I was big, and I was vice president of the Air Force Sergeants Association. So all these first sergeants knew me very well. Right. And they were like, "Sir Byers, how can we help you?" And Conway stood up and he goes, "He's one of mine." And I was like, "How do you remember that?" Well, the kind of piggyback on him, I found out that this guy had been the best of the best his whole career. He was like, yeah, his list is like this big, and he's still like teaching ROTC over in Delaware somewhere. And I actually found him, and I mean, he spent 24 years of being, top notch at everything he did. He was a stand-eval drill instructor, which meant he evaluated other drill instructors. And that's why he had a little blue rope. So when he set us down, he talked to us and he goes, "You guys are going to go in there. The washout rate on this is like 98%.
Woo.
And when you wash out, whatever you came into that was guaranteed to you will no longer be guaranteed. So why did you come in the military?" And I said, "Well, my best friend tucked me into, just going down the recruiter with him. And I felt it was a way to pay for college. So I came in initially just to get my money for college, get out, get my education, eventually have some big paying job. And that way I could have a 911 Porsche. And that was my life. And I was a young, preppy little 80s kid.
That was my dream car when I was a kid.
Well, I'm driving one now in Cyberpunk.
No, my new dream car, people are going to hate this. Well, my dream car right now is the SSR, the Chevy SSR.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah. Okay.
And then now I might get a lot of hate for the few who watch. Is the fucking Tesla truck. I don't know why that thing, I just want it.
Well, at least it's a stainless steel vehicle, The only other one was a DeLorean,
Right. So, hey, I saw the DeLorean in real life in Vegas. They had it staged at MGM. That was badass seeing that car.
So talking about the military is one of the things that I do when I do things is I kind of don't want to bring the name down, my last name, because we have a distant relative over in Ohio, and here he is over here. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's clear.
Is there any kind of family resemblance there? I played.
His eyes are close. His nose has like the nostrils up a little bit.
There's a picture of him, and this is a SEAL Team medic.
SEAL Team medic.
SEAL Team 3, and he was awarded the Medal of Honor in Afghanistan for saving a doctor without borders that got stolen by the Taliban.
Awesome.
And he was part of that. So Ed Byers Jr. So the bottom line is, when it comes to the name, the standards set pretty high.
Ed Byers Jr. is just, who's the one that was on Joe Rogan?
Ed's Byers? Been on there.
And so has that episode today.
And so has another guy named Dakota Meyer.
Dakota's the other one.
Okay. So, and Rogan's actually had a lot of them on it. Of course,
Oh, yeah.
he's a big fan of Jocko, and Jocko's the next SEAL. So
I bought a book of Jocko's.
He's had Marcus Luttrell on there. He's had Morgan Luttrell, which is Marcus's twin. In fact, watching their podcast is when I really heard the story about Morgan and Marcus. When Marcus was in Bud's SEALs training. Say what? Texas boy. Yes. Yeah. So when Marcus, his twin brother, Morgan went to college. Marcus went in the SEALs because 911, or this was pre-911 that Marcus was in. And then when 911 happened, Morgan dropped out of college and went in because he wanted to go in as an officer. So what he did is, I think he got all his degree super early and doubled up on everything and went into the SEALs now. Don't quote me on if he was an officer in the Navy or the SEALs or whatever. But here's what happened. Morgan was visiting Marcus while he was in Bud's. Now, you got to remember, Bud's sometimes is 9 months if you're healthy, if you never get hurt. You can end up in Bud's for a year and a half, getting yelled at like we were in basic training for a year and a half.
David Goggins went through it 3 times. You remember his story?
Yeah, and that's if you never wash out. That's if you go through, the first time without any issues, or they say, hey, come back and try again, or, you washed out or whatever.
That's David Goggins right there above my head. I don't quit when I'm tired. I'm done when I'm finished, or some shit like that quote. I love it.
And I also see you got the not Night Stalker, but also which serial killer is that up there?
Oh, you're talking about Heisenberg. That's a Breaking Bad character.
Oh, okay, but that looks just like the artistic drawing of the Zodiac killer.
Yeah.
There's one that looks just like that, the Zodiac killer, or maybe it was Ramirez before he got caught. But so talking about Dakota Meyer, the whole Morgan and Marcus Luttrell thing is basically on a Friday, Morgan said, hey, why don't you just let me do Buds today? And Marcus is like, my legs are really, I think I got shin splints or something. Come to find out, he had broken legs.
Yeah.
He was actually doing Buds on broken legs because just the trauma, neither one of them got to retire from the service, which is, again, another great thing about Ed Byers. He was able to retire as a SEAL. And
wow,
that's really rare because just the general public don't realize the impact that just being in the military has on you. From Kami Von Doom being a C-130 gunship, even just day to day being a cook in the military or something, it takes tolls on you. The cancer rate for us veterans, like my wife, me, we're both thyroid cancer survivors. And come to find out that a lot of these bases are having real bad water issues, and there's a whole class action lawsuit on it.
Oh, shit.
And what I was telling you was I answered this thing about the PJs, and I got 2 new subscribers, and they're like stage 4 cancer people. And they're like big fans. And I'm like, my shout outs to you, you're going through this stuff, and my prayers are with them. And one's got metastasized breast cancer, and the other one has metastasized colon cancer. And I said, if you're going to have a cancer, get thyroid cancer, because if they get it early, you can survive. But
my mom works with
tough.
An oncologist.
So what?
My mom works with an oncologist in Houston. He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, some of the best. I remember DeBakey used to work the heart transplant specialist. I think he was out of Houston.
Yeah, we got a big medical center.
Yeah. Well, you're what, the 3rd or 4th biggest city in America now? And on volume, you're the number 1. Hell, to drive across. Yeah. I think land-wise, you're like number 1. LA maybe close because LA's a big area.
Yeah.
But Houston's just gigantic.
Yeah,
Gigantic.
it's unfortunate though when you got to get around.
Oh yeah,
That's why they make these perfect little developments where everything's within like a 5-mile radius.
Right. I told you before, but the audience don't know that my uncle lived up in Woodlands because his wife
that's right.
was a dentist tech, and she would sell all these stuff to dental things. So she's getting paychecks from selling all this dental supplies to all these people. So
right.
once she made the sale for 10 years, she's getting checks from each one of those racking up. So they lived in the Woodlands.
That's a nice area if you don't know.
Yeah. I visited him there, and he was a teacher, and he had a part-time gig in being security for concerts because he loves his music, and we go through the Woodlands, and here's this woods, and all of a sudden there's this like strip mall, and here's this great big auditorium in the middle of the woods. Here's a big high rise, and out in the middle of nowhere. That's another thing unique about Houston. Everybody else builds their high rises in one area. You guys got some here, and 20 miles that way, you got 4 or 5 other 80-story buildings and 50-story buildings. And,
you could confuse the medical center for our downtown.
When my son did robotics national championship, it's called for Inspiration in Science and Technology. His first championship I went to was there in Houston, and of course went to the Space Center, stuff like that. But because all these teams came in everywhere, we were all over Houston, and our hotel was right down from Sugarland. In fact, we walked out and went to the Sugarland Mall, and they got a skating rink, an ice skating rink, home of Tara Lipinski.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait a minute, Olympic skaters from friggin' Houston?
Check this.
An ice skater from Houston, Texas. Come on now.
Check this. The doctor my mom previously worked for, he is now like the team doctor for the Texans and shit. He started off in Wharton, where I grew up, and then made it to Sugarland. And he had Tara Lipinski as one of his, because he was orthopedic, and he had Tara Lipinski. I got her autograph, a framed picture, everything of her.
So when we're going from the hotel and we're walking down to this big mall, and of course it's like 3 stories, and like I say, the sub basement, literally the Galleria. Yes, we ate at the that day. We went to the Cheesecake Factory. It was the first time I'd ever been in a Cheesecake Factory. Being, I used to tell people when I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings as a manager, I used to say 90% of this belly is cheesecake.
I went to Buffalo Wild Wings just last weekend for a wild card weekend, and they got these cauliflower wings. Jeez, I try to be, somewhat healthy with that decision. That shit was so good. Makes me want to go there and watch some games again today.
Yeah, I used to run some of the restaurants. I was not the general manager, but one of the managers of the Broad Ripple store in downtown Indianapolis and on the West End. I helped build one or two of the stores on the South Side in Greenwood. Help was at the beginning of the opening in Lafayette, where Purdue University is, and I was involved in a lot in that. It's a youth sport for sure, and back then I was in my mid 40s, so I was the old man by far for the most part. The owners were my age, but short of that, everybody else is 20, 22, 23. They want to hang out and party for life, and I'm like, I'm here to make money and keep the customers happy. So
Hey, but back to gaming though with the division. What do you think is the future?
I don't know. It could go any way, but just getting on the website this morning, because they're hiring 3 different positions, and one of them's a writer for, it doesn't say Star Wars, but it talks about galaxies and all this other stuff and open world, and basically they're hiring writers, and you have to submit some of the stuff. Now, I didn't bring my yearbook up, but I wrote plays way back in high school.
Jesus.
And I know I wrote a play called At Wit's End. Our drama teacher was able to. Now, when I say drama, you would have to look up Logansport, Indiana. Our auditorium was $17 million auditorium.
Fuck. In high school?
Yeah, we had a professional auditorium. This is why we had a kumbaya, and I probably shouldn't say that. We had a ex-mafia defender, like F. Lee Bailey that defends the good guys. This was the guy that defended like mafia people and bad people back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. His name was Frank McHale. So he had a lot of dirty money, but he never had any kids. And his sister died pretty young. So he didn't have really any heirs to give all this millions of dollars he did. So he said, I want this performing arts council in my hometown. So he said, well, I'll give you X amount of money. And the school said, well, we can't afford to double that or match that. And they were like, okay, so I'll give you this amount and you match this amount. And we're like, well, we can't maintain that. We don't have a budget to maintain that big facility. He goes, okay, I'll give you $1 million escrow account that you can only spend the interest off each year. So the school says, yeah. So what they did is the first 10 years, they took the interest and paid off their part of the loan. But I was, we had Johnny Cash on that theater my senior year. I was an usher, because as students, we work in the theater. And we got paid. We got paid like $26 an hour to be a techie, for like professional people.
What was this, the 30s?
Say what?
What was this, the 30s?
No, 1980.
83. 83. Okay.
83. Yeah. I had a candlelight, spotlight. Yeah. But we had. For now, anyway, our theater was very big. And when the drama guy took over the drama club my senior year, he said, we're going to do something different in drama club because people show up and then we really don't do anything. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let you guys direct like small portions of a play. And when it came to my turn, I said, well, I'm going to write my own. And he's like, I don't know about this. So he made me jump through all these hoops, send him the script and all that. And I did a play that was very dramatic. It wasn't a nice play. It was a psychologist that dealt with things. And anyway, the psychologist at the end, he loses it because psychology is one of the biggest suicidal, short of a cop, maybe now. It's big on suicide rate for because people get involved in other people's problems and then nobody takes care of them. And anyway, that's what kind of happens. He's taking care of these two teenagers that, one's a supermodel, kind of like Drew Barrymore kind of thing, 12 years old and already got dependency issues.
Yeah.
Been with like adults and, all this other, and the senator's son was acting catatonic because he lost his mother in a car accident and he knew his dad was drunk at the time, and so he don't talk, and throwing all these people together, they fix all their problems, but yet the psychologist is the one that ends up going down the deep end. So I did that in high school and people were like, oh, that's too dramatic. And then like reunions, people would be like, dude, drama is like the biggest thing. There's drama on TNT. We're waiting for you to see your name up there one of these days, right? Yeah. So, and it also helped that my classmate was Letterman Scholarship, the one that makes the Batmobile.
Right.
He won a David Letter scholarship for making movies. Back in high school, he used to make Batman movies on Super 8.
Millimeter.
Yeah. So
the cat just all over.
That's it. So getting back to division, I really don't know, but they're hiring a lot of people. So it's not inconceivable that they're just spanning the everything else. And one of the things that I tried to say on my little video about where I think maybe Star Wars will fit in and maybe There's room enough for Division to still exist. When you're talking Lucas films and sound, light, magic, you got a whole industry coming with you.
Yeah. So you're
You got
thinking
all
Massey's
that.
going to stay with the division as well?
Say what?
You think Massey's still going to be a part of it?
I think they could. Now, Buzz Lightyear thinks that they should take a break. You know, we've already lost the head of Massive right now, the head developer, which is now he took the job to going to be head of the Star Wars project. So if Massiv's to continue, they need to replace him. But if you worked on the division for 10 years, wouldn't it not be a promotion to come work and do Star Wars next? Would you
natural.
not jump at that?
Of course.
Yeah, that's just a natural promotion. You know, hey, you proved you could do this for 10 years. I've done it for 10 years, even though this is my baby, you know, and move on. But, you know, let him answer, you know, his, and we'll see. We'll see. It all depends how much this has been in the working. I think because you're dealing with Lucas, a lot of this stuff, the ink on the contract is just dry. You know, up until December 31st or whenever EA had the exclusive rights to do Star Wars games, I don't believe anybody could work on them before then. And I don't think anybody dealing with Lucas would have been doing anything that could be infringed on a contract. Following Lucas and being involved in Star Wars Galaxies back in the day like, you think I'm immersed in Division, Galaxies was even better. And even on phone games, I played Force Collection, which was like a collectible card game, Star Wars. So I played a lot of those games and been really immersed in the series and the canon and the books and the whole thing about, you know, Luke and Mara when, you know, of course, when they decided to go to 7, 8, 9, of course, they left that whole story out, how Luke's wife was kind of almost a Sith, you know.
Whoa. Hey, I have a question about the Star Wars games, though. Yeah. I liked Battlefront, at least the PvP part. I think it was strictly PvP. But you keep saying Galaxies. Are there two different titles going?
Okay. Star Wars Galaxies was back 2001. It was like pre-WoW. In fact, it and WoW were neck and neck at the beginning. And back in those universe, when you played, look this up. Look up DJ Chris. You'll love this video. I know you will. It's called Chris. Boba the Fett. It's DJ Chris, and it's a rap. And he does, and everything in there is from Galaxies. So you had dancers that would dance, and when you watch the dancers dance, you would get buffed.
Does he have a marshmallow as his avatar?
I don't know.
Comstock? American DJ. Let's try him.
Maybe.
Oh, fuck. This dude's got a Wikipedia page.
My backpack's got jets.
Boba Fett?
Boba
the Fett?
Yes, it might be that.
Boba Fett. All right. Fett's Vet?
Yeah, Fett's Vet. That's it. Now, all the footage in that is from Galaxies, Star Wars Galaxies. And in this universe, so you had Yavin, you had Dathomar, you had Corellia, you had Naboo, you had all these different worlds. And then during the expansion, then we actually had spaceships on the second expansion. In the third expansion, we went to Kashyyyk, which is the Wookiee world. And on the fourth one, Lucas said, dude, my guys have worked on this lava planet, and it's in the damn movie for a whole 5 minutes.
Where
I want you to make a game based around this planet, or an expansion around this planet.
The lava one, is that the one where old boy gets his legs?
Yep, that's Mustafar. So in our Mustafar expansion back in the Star Wars Galaxies, it was, I mean, it was like us jumping on Division and going to Legendary, but Legendary and beyond. Everybody jumped on there. Us Jedi were jumping in there, and we were getting killed. And when you died as a Jedi in that game, you actually lost experience, like a week's worth of experience.
Oh shit. Oh man.
Yeah. So you could actually, and your whole tier could get ruined by dying. So you definitely didn't. Yeah, you were chicken poopies with when a bounty hunter's coming after you. You're just like hiding out in your house going for 6 hours, going, I can't go out there because if that bounty hunter shoots me, I just lost a week's worth of work.
Oh man.
So,
I don't know.
but there was a whole profession, and you had you would go fight the Night Sisters and get the grind there was more getting your different lightsabers that give you different colors. So if you go down in the caves and you got your crystals, then if you got a purple crystal and it was really high quality, then of course you could have a purple lightsaber. Of course, we already know that that's pretty rare. Only
Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
I knew that one.
And being back in the Galaxy's days when that was all coming down, we being immersed in the Star Wars genre, we watched a lot of the news that would be fed in and say that came straight from the Lucas Studios through that. So I got to see how much Lucas Studios was involved in that game with Sony, and I don't think I think that was all Sony, and the runners was Sony. But Sony said, hey, the big push is these consoles are getting real good. They're going to come out with these newer consoles, and the game's too complicated. So we're going to nerf it down so we can put it on consoles. And of course, they ruined it. And a lot of these guys, because they would get on here and there was all these crafters and that would literally do nothing but craft in the game so they could sell their blasters or their whatever, animals, everything that could be done. You could make macros, and you could actually have your character doing certain things while you were gone, while you were offline.
God damn.
It was just complicated as hell, way ahead of its time. But when they nerfed it, people said, screw it, we're going to go play this game called WoW. And off to World of Warcraft they went.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
And the servers started closing down, and by 2004, 2005, we were down to, a tenth of the servers, and, people, you had architects, and you would have you get to build your own houses, and people had them like museums, and you would find stuff, and you would find skulls and put in your house, or you would build things up, and you could walk into somebody's house and look at all their stuff, and they would have vendors there so you could buy stuff. And if they have anything close to that in today's world on the next gen consoles, it's going to be great. But the problem is, when you make a game that complicated, the average person gets lost real quick.
Yeah.
So it gets real specialized. That was the problem with Star Wars Galaxies. So I don't know if they're going to go that way. I would hope it does, because I'm a Star Wars geek, and when I get into something, I'm into it. I got to learn everything there is. I want to share it with everybody. I want to help everybody out and say, hey, did you know this? Did you know there's an owl god over at Roosevelt Island? If you run around 5 times and do the hokey pokey and light this candle, and light that candle, and light this candle, you get to go down and, worship the owl god.
Right, at that dock.
Yeah, well, he's underground somewhere in a hole.
Shit, I think I
never done that.
I think
the
so.
Mandrovian owl god, or whatever he is.
Yeah,
he's like a 9-foot owl god. Yeah, very
man.
few people.
My play style. I'm all about just the action.
You're
goes right over me.
And most of the people are, and the people that came from Div 1, that's what they want to see. They want to, they want to GG, or they want to go, you suck.
Oh, fuck that. I hate people like that.
And Frog's God, and that to me, I'm too old for that. I don't. If I go in the dark zone and I shoot you, I'm usually not taking your stuff. Now, if you
No, I
hunted me
won't.
or my friends down first, oh, now it's on. I'll probably
Exactly.
take your stuff and break it down.
Hey, you mentioned earlier year 3. You think year 3 still plans? Are still going to go
I think
forward?
that was planned a long time ago.
Yeah, it is. But do you think they're still getting funded where they can pull this off?
I think when I say plan, I think it was already made. I think the people that are leaving now, they're not still developing game 3. They
Yeah.
would be fine if they didn't. They would be in serious trouble. And if anybody's followed the news in gaming, that kind of stuff is really being frowned on by us customers, especially the year of COVID. We're getting tired of beta testing these games for free,
Dude,
and they throw in a
pet
half-baked
peeve.
game at us.
Exactly. We're the fucking testers now, buying it at
Right.
full price, and we're buying the ultimate editions, or we're automatically buying the year 1 pass. They're
Right.
like, hey, if you notice anything,
And then they
just
don't
hit
even
up
have
our
respect to say, that's a great idea. And yeah, not everybody's Gears of War. When they get Ice-T in there to be a spokesman, they go, hey, Ice-T. And by the way, I played this game with Ice-T.
Which one? TD2?
Yeah.
I know T-Pain plays the Division.
He's a Division 2 or was.
Oh, yeah,
he
I heard about it. I remember, yeah.
Because I swore to my son, I said, son, I think I just played with, I know that voice. And after he went on his way, because what happened is they said one of his entourage that was in there, I just answered a call, and one of them said, hey, Trace, come here. And I'm like, dude, I never tell anybody my first name. How do you know my first name's Tracy? He goes, I wasn't talking to you. So T mentions up, and he goes, yeah, my name's Tracy, and he was talking to me. Sorry, my guys are a little protective of me, I appreciate you the help and some of the pointers you gave me. That's cool. I'll be the best. And at the end, we went on our way. I was like, I know that voice. Holy shit, that was Ice-T. And my son goes, Dad, get off the crack. And he went on his own way, went back in his room because he was living here temporarily at the time. And so a week later, he comes out with this magazine about the Division and throws it down in front of me, and he covered it up, and he goes, what was that guy's name? And I said, Lord, something like Lord 812 or something like that. He moved his hand, and there it was, Ice-T, Lord 812, playing Division. And because he was going out on tour, he was like, man, I just don't have the time to get through this raid. It's too tough. So I've kind of hit a wall, was what the article was about.
Through it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's Xbox,
I got it.
huh?
I said I think it was playing on Xbox in his out on the road, because I don't think he was on a PC now. Following him on Twitter, he later posted, he said, I'm hanging out, and I use this quote, by the way, and I do give him props. He said, I'm hanging out, hiding it away from a pandemic, playing a game about fighting a pandemic.
That's classic. I love that.
That's
he seemed like a nice, humble guy too on the comms when.
Oh yeah, but you don't want to cross that guy. You don't want to cross him. And by the way, he's a veteran. A lot of people
Air
don't
Force,
realize
right?
that. Army. He spent time in the Army. I think maybe he got a little trouble, but I think he did his time and got out. And then of course when he came back to he lost his parents at a young age, so he had to go live with his aunt out in L.A. So that's why he was in gang territory. And of course he being a little bit more educated, he would read Iceberg Slim, which was wrote books on how to be a pimp.
Oh, okay.
So the gangsters would say, hey, T, you short for Tracy. He'd say, hey, T, spout some of that ice. Ice-T.
No way.
Yeah, that's the story that I've read, that how he got his nickname Ice-T is because the Iceberg Slim and his T being short for Tracy.
Right. That's pretty cool. The origin of iced tea.
There you go. But Division, yes, I hope to God that I don't think we have a Division 3 coming anytime soon. And a full development of that game was either already in the works, and I don't see him throwing it out. The only thing that's got me concerned that this could be the end is there was an article, and you guys can data mine for it, back in June of this last year.
Okay.
Basically, the mothership said, you guys need to rein in your control, and if you don't start making a profit, we're pulling you. About
Did they make a profit with Summit? Oh, that was free. Last time we paid was for Warlords.
Right, or just seasons, nickel and diamond us, from us. And to me, I gladly do that. For one, it helps the experience, but to me, I got 4,000 hours played on this game almost.
Mm.
So if you add it up and you take the hours played by the money that I paid for the product,
of course you get your money's worth. Yeah,
it's per hour. It's a penny or two per hour. What else can you do in the world? I
always get my money's worth.
You go to McDonald's now, you got to spend $15 thanks to minimum wage being astronomical, which that's a totally different thing. I understand living wage, but I also understand economics. When you make something higher, then everything's more expensive. Then your $15 ain't going to be a living wage.
Right.
So when you go to the factories and you're building something that's on a world scale, how are you ever going to compete with third world countries that aren't paying that money?
Mm.
You're just pricing the American market right out of industry.
Do you think there's a season 5?
Say what?
You think there's a season 5 coming?
4 and 5 for, or season 3 for Division?
We're currently in season 4. Do you think there's a 5 coming?
No, I think there's a year 3. And
okay.
I hope. Okay, so if I was a writer, so here's my audition online. If I was a writer for this game, when we go to get Fei Lao at the end of the season, we may even kill her, okay? But we already know, all of us know that the president, and by the way, spoiler alert for those who've already played, the president's a bad guy. He already killed 2 guys, right?
When the fuck did he do that?
He killed the other president. He had the other president killed. Come on.
Part 1 or part 2?
Kind of in both. Remember, one president kind of disappeared and the other one had a heart attack.
Uh-huh.
And if you watch the videos, they killed him. The Black Tusk killed him. Well, he's involved in Black Tusk. Okay, here's another thing. Next time you're in Grand Washington Hotel and you're about ready to step on that elevator, stop. Look to your right. There's a big poster there. It says, guest speaker, Speaker of the House Ellis. Other guest speakers, General Bliss of the Last Man Battalion. The other guest speaker is the guy of Douglas and Harding. And if you haven't figured it out now, all the people making all the tech, Douglas and Harding, Richter and Kaiser, Sokolov.
I heard she's coming. Natalia, right?
Yeah, Natalia Sokolov. And according to the comms that we've heard lately, going after Felix, her brother, Faye told him, it was like, that's kind of coincidence that your dad mysteriously died, got killed by your stepmom. So I think what she's trying to infer is your sister's so mean, she knocked off your own dad to take over the company and framed his wife, which is not her mother, okay?
Stepmother.
Framed the stepmother, which I might be Felix's mom. I don't know how that works. But anyway, the whole point is she's trying to paint her being bad. Now, what is the motivation behind Faye? She's mad because her sister got killed, right?
Right.
Riker killed it. It wasn't something the government did. The president didn't kill, even in all his corruption, didn't kill him. It wasn't Keener. It was Rikers invaded something. It was a territorial thing. They didn't have the manning to protect him. They didn't have enough people to be on night watch, and they snuck in at night, and her sister ended up getting killed, right?
Hmm.
So she's got motivation, which all these guys have motivation from whatever reason. The person that was in the outcast got stuck on the island. She was a carrier. Her daughter got sick, not realizing she probably infected her own daughter because she's the one that was infecting everybody. She was the Typhoid Mary, at the time. But she got stuck on Roosevelt Island. When you hear all the broadcast from the outcast, and they were like, we're going to kill everybody that put, mothers, fathers, and put us on Roosevelt Island. We're going to get them all, right? That's their war cry, because they got locked behind and left behind.
Right.
The hunters, maybe they're hunting us because, they were the first generation, the elite of the elite, the Ed Byerses of the world,
right?
And they pulled the plug on them and they left them out to dry.
Huh?
Who knows? But here, as a writer, this is the twist I would do. As we hunt Faye, we either let Faye go at the end, or we finish Faye off, and in her dying breath, she goes, "I'm deep undercover."
Okay, A, you said if you're writing, so play out what you would write. You just gave us two outcomes.
That's it. So